I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of
Order.
If I'm going down,
Order in
I'm
the
taking a
court.
whole lot of
I
people
said
with me.
order in the court.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
To this day.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, guys, I want to talk a little bit more about Gervonta Tank Davis, Tevin Farmer. Those two guys, they fought last night. But also, in addition to that, guys like Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz. Name that all three of these names have been, well, and Lomachenko. Damn. There's been a lot of names floating around for tough competition or a big fight for Gervonta Tank Davis. We've heard last night in the post-fight interview, Floyd Mayweather said that Tank Davis is going to be a pay-per-view star. We always hear Leonard Ellaby, you know, he tends to like to remind the fans that Tank Davis is a superstar. And my whole thing, it's nothing wrong with that. I definitely see that Tank has the potential, but none of that stuff is actually going to be real. None of that stuff is actually going to be believed by the fans until Tank Davis gets in a ring with either someone that has a big enough name or someone that is legitimate competition where Tank is in a fight of the year caliber type fight. Until that happens, it's just talk. It's just like Floyd Mayweather trying to convince us, and Leonard Ellaby trying to convince us. When I say us, I mean the fans, trying to convince us this is what Tank Davis is. But until those tough fights come about, it's not going to happen. Now, in Tevin Farmer post-fight interview, he basically put it all out there. He let the world know that he wants to fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. He wants that unification bout. And he said Tank can say all day, every day what he wants. But Leonard Ellaby, his promoter, is the person that's going to make the decisions on what happens with Gervonta Tank Davis. Basically saying that what Tank says, it don't mean shit. It don't mean a damn thing. And it sucks for Tank and it sucks for Tevin Farmer. It seems like both of these young guys, they want to fight. They have confidence in their ability. And it's a good scrap that I want to see. Now, prior to me making this video, I was listening to 78's video. He was talking about Tank. And, you know, it's very clear that Golden Boy, it's very clear that Mayweather Promotions has something special when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis. And I don't dispute that at all. But I mean, the trend with Mayweather fighters that I've noticed over the years is a lot of their guys either put in the spotlight or that fight prior to that big fight, they lose. And to me, from what I've observed, I don't feel like the direct confidence the lack of confidence that Floyd Mayweather or Leonard Ellaby or Mayweather Promotions altogether, I don't think the lack of confidence is directly towards Tank Davis. I think the lack of confidence of putting Tank in there is also associated with just all of their other fighters. When they're put on a big stage, they can't perform, or when they're right below that level of being put on a big stage, they don't perform, they take a loss. And you have a guy in Tank, extremely young, very promising, two-time champion, knocking guys out, knocked out every opponent except for one. You know, they're very hesitant because he's young. Tank's 24 years old, and a lot of fighters, you know, they may not start to really peak and develop into their grown man strength until they start approaching their late 20s. Now, granted, Tank's not even 25. He's still a very young guy, and I understand if they're looking at it from that perspective, Tank is only going to get stronger. But the whole issue with Tank is, can he make weight? That's a whole other factor they have to factor in. And it's like they have a lot of negative things that they have to consider, because Tank getting in there with these lower level guys that are clearly not on Tank's level, guys that are clearly not a level below Tank. Because I said if they were on Tank level, it would be competitive fights. He wouldn't knock out every single person except for one. If there were a tier below Tank, I feel like you would have Tank going to decision with some of these guys, but it's a wide margin. And then even if it was like a notch below that, I feel like Tank would be knocking these guys out in like the 10th round, 10th or 11th round. in dramatic fashion, but it's been a lot of early knockouts consistently. And to me, it shows me that the different tiers, they're nowhere near Tank Davis. Now, it's good fights out there like Lil Santa Cruz. Everyone knows that Lil Santa Cruz, he's been ducking a lot of the tough competition, or he'll rematch some of the same guys over and over again. I've already put out my disdain for Lil Santa Cruz in the past. It doesn't need to be repeated. That would be a fight I would love to see, just for the simple fact I want to see Lil Santa Cruz get stopped in dramatic fashion. Now, outside of Lil Santa Cruz, we have my fellow DMV native, Gary Russell Jr. To me, Gary Russell Jr. versus Tank Davis is very comparable, in my opinion, to Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence. I said it because you have the smaller guy that is visibly more skillful. The guy that's faced tougher competition already in his career. Now, that's not something that you can necessarily say about Terrence Crawford, but basically you have a guy that's a boxer versus a guy that's a power puncher. Simple. One guy, to me, the main reason I feel like Terrence Crawford will lose to Earl Spence is because he's just naturally smaller. And that's the same reason I feel that Gary Russell will lose to Gervonta Tank Davis. Just to keep it plain and simple. That would still be a good fight. I would love to see. DMV will go crazy on that bout. I mean, and we still got guys like Lomachenko, Tevin Farmer waiting to win. My biggest fear when it comes to the whole Tevin Farmer fight is the fact that Tevin Farmer is getting a lot of ring experience. He's getting a lot of rounds in. Now, I haven't looked into how many rounds has Tevin Farmer fought in his entire career and compared him to Gervonta Tank Davis, but I know Tevin Farmer, with only 6 knockouts on his record, I know he's fought a considerable amount more of rounds than Tank has. And I feel if Tevin Farmer's defense is as good as we believe it is, and he has the ability to make Tank Davis miss, and we're surprised at this point in Tevin Farmer's career if he has a decent ability to take power punches from Tank Davis, obviously not getting caught by a monstrous punch that he doesn't see coming that will clearly knock him out, but within reason. I think Tevin Farmer's ring experience is what's going to be the biggest difference. Not saying that I feel like Tank will lose that fight, because I think Tank will stop him, but the more fights Tank continue to have against these lower level guys, and he keeps getting them out of there extremely fast, yes, his confidence will continuously grow. But my whole concern is, will it be a false sense of confidence because these guys aren't on his level? And the more fighters are in there like Tevin Farmer, the more rounds they go, the more ring experience they have. They're in this ring with different styles of opponents, and they learn how to make adjustments because they had no other choice. Tevin Farmer at this point in time is a much more experienced fighter than Tank Davis. Tevin just don't got no crack. Now, if Tevin Farmer can pull off a defensive masterpiece against Tank, hey man, that's an extremely difficult fight, and I would love to see it. Now, we all know the whole deal. I mean, we all know the whole Lomachenko story. Sometimes, like, it's very clear that Floyd Mayweather doesn't want Tank to fight Lomachenko, for the fact that when he was pissed off with Tank Davis, he threatened to make a fight with Lomachenko as punishment. To me, that just pretty much told the whole story. Now, after that, you have Tank Davis on the other hand. He's made it plain and simple that he will whoop Tevin Farmer ass. He can beat this guy ass. He talks shit about guys not in this weight class, but when it comes to Vasily Lomachenko, the energy is not the same. So I can't say it's just Mayweather's management or Mayweather promotion, like just the management or promoter aspect of it. I feel like Gervonta Tank Davis plays a role in that Lomachenko fight not happening as well. I don't think he's interested in that fight either. So with all of that being said, Tank Davis, he needs to be in fights where he's going to go deeper in the fight, where he can have more rounds. Because the last thing I want to see is Gervonta Tank Davis get in there with a guy that isn't expected to beat him, but the guy has a lot more dog than expected. He has a chin, and then he has a lot more ring experience, and at the worst, it exposes Tank. I don't want Tank to be in there with a guy that the general consensus going into the fight is Tank is going to stop this guy early, and Tanks get exposed, but he gets the victory. So with that being said, Hopefully something changes. Hopefully the level in competition goes up. And I just want to see Tank fight a lot more often. This Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm out.